What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Week 4 recap and Week 5 preview show for the Scratch League. What's up, Max? For the Mike Medlin Scratch League at Railcrest Lanes. I'm James. I normally have a Ginger with me. Unfortunately, work has summoned him for a minute, so he'll be joining just a couple minutes late. So I am here to fill time until the actual host of this program returns. So I guess, where to start? It's been a good. I guess I'll just go on ahead and jump straight into it. So to tell a little bit of a story, last year I obviously moved to Kansas City in the middle of the summer after having lived in North Carolina my whole life, and it was jumping into the Midland Scratch League. I ended up getting drafted onto a really solid team with guys I enjoyed bowling with, so I was very fortunate in that regard. But I moved halfway across the country, underwent a fit change, and started a pretty major philosophical overhaul of my lane play philosophy and all that. And I think at the end of the first half of the season, I was at about a low mid 220s average, like not that far above the captain line, the captain cut line for the league at that point, which would have been top 18. And so I'm sitting there. It was easily my worst first half of a season that I've had in probably 7 years. And I'm sitting here. I'm like, crap. I might not be a captain next year. Ended up having a better second half. I think I averaged 234, 235ish for the second half of the year, and ended up fifth high in the league in average, and was able to be a captain for this year. Obviously, since I drafted my own team. And now here we are. Whereas Torbjorn from Overwatch said, Aardvark pays off. All right, I think I did that about right. Close enough. But anyways, 2 300s and 2 800s through 4 weeks. Definitely a little bit of a monkey off my back. I had 0 honor scores last year in the league, but kind of for me personally, it was definitely a kind of a reward, kind of a proof of concept, essentially, that all of the work that I've been putting in, the changes I've been making, the stuff I've been chasing is in fact working. It just took me a little bit longer than I thought it would to get there. So that's kind of my little diatribe to start the stream today. I know not every week is going to be an 800. I'm averaging like 253 through 4 weeks, I think, and I know that's completely and wholly unsustainable for an entire season, especially against this type of a field. But for right now, I'm kind of riding the wave and letting it go, as enjoying it as much as I can, getting pins wherever I can, and just trying to have fun and grind out a decent result when I can't strike a million times like I did last week. Hey, what's up, Andrew? So good morning. No, it's afternoon here, sir, in the correct time zone. Oh, hey, we have a Ginger back. What's up, dude? I was just kind of a little bit of a personal note to start the stream that this start of this season has just kind of been a payoff for me of like put all the work that I've put in. And you've seen a lot of this firsthand. A lot of the changes and stuff I've been working on, and feels like it's actually starting to pay off now. So I'm just kind of riding the wave until it stops, and it'll stop at some point, and that's okay. But in the meantime, I'm gonna have fun with it while I can. So, how are you doing today, Luke?
Doing pretty good. Just had something come up at the wrong time. Normally I do that. I do these I work from home on Thursdays, and so I do these on my lunch break, basically. So I just happened to have something pop up right before that needed attention for a minute. But anyway,
no worries at all.
Thanks for showing up here.
Yeah. Machine the Sun, super high average. Local pro doesn't even average that high. I mean, I have no illusions that I'm going to finish at 250 plus. Like that's through 4 weeks, and I've got two 800s in those 4 weeks. Like that's wild and completely unsustainable, and there's no chance I actually finish that high. I'd guess if my target is mid 230s realistically for the season, and if I finish there, I'll be pretty satisfied with that. But yeah, Luke, I know Thursday was fun for us for multiple reasons. Number one, wait, I just realized this is the wrong sheet somehow.
Oh well.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'll go on ahead and do a.
Yeah, you talk for just a sec. I'll
do some details while you're.
Yes, perfect.
Figuring that out. So, to get started here, there we go. TikTok, yeah. Thanks, Max. Speaking of Max, Scarred Prints, you can find them on Facebook. They have a website now that's easier to get to off of Facebook. They do custom ball cups, spinners, pen holders, among a few other things. So definitely check them out. I also have a new affiliation with Free Spirits, non-alcoholic replacements for whiskey, gin, tequila, and Italian liqueur. Discount code for that should be in the description. Discount codes for Cool Wick stuff. This is one of their kind of pullovers, windbreakers things that I like quite a bit. And all that stuff's in the description. So if you want to hear about some actual bowling, just go check the description for all kinds of stuff, discount codes, products, whatever else.
Wait, actual bowling? I don't understand.
Yeah, I know.
What is this nonsense?
Got to fit it in there somewhere.
Yeah, go figure. But yeah, so we had the group in from the Patreon group over in your Discord server for Kansas City Open this past weekend, and so I mean, obviously, you know, I feel like we all bowled really well. You had a tough beat catching Tennyson shooting 760 at you after a really rough start for him to the season. So kind of shit happens there. But I mean, aside from that, this was probably one of the more fun league nights I've had in a long time, just because having everybody there to kind of talk with between frames kind of, at least for me, kind of filled the gaps and made it a little more fun than just kind of throw my shot, walk back, talk with my teammates, throw my shot, walk back, talk shit to Caudell, throw my shot, walk back, go down, say hi to Angel. And that's kind of what most of my weeks ended up being. So
yeah,
it was a nice kind of breakup for me from the usual league routine.
Yeah. And this was, we talked last week about the matchups, the individual matchups, and how we lost a few points a couple weeks ago. Now, last week we made the changes and it backfired. I still like the numbers. I still would have done the same thing because I wasn't going to put Tennyson shooting 7. I mean, definitely, I drafted him one year, and so I know what his potential is. Just so far, that hasn't happened this year. And so, looking at the numbers, it was the smartest decision. But I was going to get beat by either of them, and then there was a couple point swaps on Jaden and Noah that might have gone a couple.
Yeah. So with how it works out, if you and I flip, that gets 1 extra point for you, I believe.
Yeah, because
how that math works out.
I'd have beat Mike one of those games.
You would have taken game 3 off of Anderson, and I still would have taken 2 in total off of Tennyson.
Yeah.
And then kind of a similar deal for Jaden and Noah. They had an amazing day. They went 7-1 overall, but if we flip them game 3, that gets us that would get us a 219 to 210 win over Matt Mason, the leadoff spot for Noah, if we had flipped them. So that was kind of we followed the wrong process when we bowled Team Ottawa 2 weeks ago. And then we followed and lost 2 points because of that. And then we followed the process here and lost 2 points because of it. So hello, Irony. How are you today?
And again, I'd still make the same decision. I think if we bowl that set, or if we do it that way 4 more times, I think the numbers go in our favor.
If we run this lineup against that lineup and bowl that, like you said, 4 or 5 more times, we win. I think we win the vast majority of points against them.
Yeah, I think so.
It's just kind of unlucky beat. Like, I mean, Tennyson bowled great. Mike bowled really solid, I feel like. And I wasn't really watching Mason, Austin all that much, to be honest. Or Anderson bowled really solid. Like, just a few bad breaks that popped up at the wrong time for him, or else.
Yeah,
Could've-
he threw it really well.
Yeah.
He just he couple 9 pins or whatever else. But I think
He had a couple of random big fours that really killed him. I think one each in game 1 and game 2.
yeah, I
remember right.
think it's one of those things, and for him too. I think I could be misreading this, but it's a welcome to the big leagues kid type of moment. He walks around. He walks around with a lot of swagger. Let me put it that way. He reminds me of Brad from Home Improvement, or anybody that's seen Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift at the very beginning, where the tough rich kid. I mean, he looks exactly like that. He walks around exactly like that. He's just got one of these. Yeah,
he's got a little bit of swagger going on. But like, I talked to him a little bit because I had never actually met him before last week. And pretty cool kid. He bowled at Lindenwood for a year, actually, in the St. Louis area, and then just moved back and is bowling at KU now. So
yeah, he throws it really good, and I think it's just one of those that he's got more confidence than he knows what to do with.
Yeah,
and I mean, he can back it up too.
Yeah, for sure.
I
like,
think he's
really very talented bowler, but I just kind of caught me on the wrong day, I guess. It's kind of all that was.
He's going to win the majority of his points this year in either the 3 or the 4 spot. I don't know what Tennyson's going to do there, because I think Mike's going to out average him, and most of the time the captains will wait until after the 5th week when the current year's averages lock in. I think they wait to do that.
I think Tennyson's going to bowl anchor all year, because he did the exact same thing with Johnny last year.
Okay.
So yeah, I would expect Anderson to stay in the 3 spot all year, unless something crazy happens with averages. But yeah, I mean, it was a fun match. They're a fun group to bowl with. Yes, Biddle, you can, within limitations, rearrange your lineup each week. So your 2 highest averages have to be in the 3 spot and the 4 spot, and then your other 2 bowlers have to be in 1, 2. So in our case, we're still bowling off of book averages, and that stays for the first 15 games for each bowler. So me at 230, obviously I'm going to be one of the 3-4 bowlers, and then Luke is second highest on the team, so he's also in the 3-4 spot. So essentially, for right now, as Luke and I are in the 3-4 spot, and then Jaden and Noah are in the 1 and 2 spots. However, through 12 games, Jaden has outscored Luke by 23 pins in 12 games.
Yeah,
so that's going to be
last week.
Yeah, so that's going to be at least once. So after tonight, we're going to be at 15 games for Luke and Jaden. Excuse me. And so that's going to be a kind of whoever has the higher average of Luke and Jaden is going to be in the 3-4 with me, and the other is going to be up with Noah in the 1-2. But honestly, I expect Noah to be at a lot more than whatever 1731 for 9 is. What is that, like 194, something like that? Yeah, and he had 2 rough weeks, and he was much more like confident and solid with his shot making and his swing and his release this week. So that was really, really cool to see. I think it was a huge confidence boost for him to get all 5 off of Austin as well. It was a get right week for him, I think, is the best way to say it.
Yeah, and I think he stayed around the pocket, and he did the things that you want your leadoff bowlers to do. Jaden still, and this is weird because Jaden's been having a rough time with the 3rd game, but I don't think there's any particular reason for it. Like,
it's something different every week. Yeah,
she's still in this. She can still play the same part of the lane. She's still making quality shots. She's still around the pocket. It just, the angles get off a little bit for whatever reason. Maybe it's just a tad bit of transition that messes with her ball roll a little bit, but she's not doing anything different. It's not like she tenses up or she changes anything or she whatever else. She's making the right decisions as she's using the right balls right place on the lane. She's making all the right decisions. I think it's at this point, it's just kind of a fluke.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a thing, but I don't know.
Yeah,
And
I mean, it's one of those things where like she's good enough that she'll figure it out too.
yeah,
Like her ball's seeing it the right way the vast majority of the time. So
mm-hmm.
it's kind of a like if a rough night for her is 6:30, I'm good with that.
Yeah. If a rough night for aside from
Yeah.
you, if a rough night for any of us is 6:30, then I think we can live with
Pretty
that.
much. Yeah, if I shoot 6:30, I might be on suicide watch at this point, but
Yeah.
that's only what like 45 a game under my current league average.
Yeah. Something
Yeah.
else I'm seeing is that I think when Noah gets right, we have a couple of the best one to and Jaden and I might bounce back and forth. I think we've got a couple of the best, out of the three of us, me and Jaden and Noah, whoever ends up wherever we end up.
Yeah.
I think we're one of those where we have a very established captain. We don't necessarily have a three bowler or whoever emerges as the three bowler. I mean,
we aren't a situation like Tennyson and Anderson. Like that's a pretty established 3-4 right there.
Yeah.
We have me, and then I think our top half is one of the best in the league, which I think is kind of what you're getting at as well. As our 1-2 spot is going to be very hard to take points from consistently this year.
And yours is too. And that kind of brings me back around to whoever, I think, unless one of us takes off and just averages 225 for the year.
Well, if you throw the summit, that's basically a lock. So
yeah. Hopefully, more of those have been ordered. So
step one, order a case. And then step two, order another case. Step three, profit. That's your process.
Hopefully things take off there, and I average 225, and I think Jaden and Noah could both be up around 220, given enough time too. I'm not necessarily sure, but with the 3-4 bowlers that are in the league, even if one of us gets up to 220, which I imagine that one of us is going to be there, if not all three pretty close, we still have one of the stronger anchors in the league, and we have probably one of the weaker three bowlers, unless, again, I think we'd have to get up to 225 to have a competitive three bowler that's going to consistently take points. But again, the way that this point system set up, you're going to get most of your points. If our 1 and 2 bowlers, whoever they are, get most of their points, even if the three bowler, is below 50% on their points for the year, we're going to be taking most of the team points.
Yeah, if we go like 3-3-1-3 for our points on a weekly basis for individual, that's going to be very, very hard to beat.
Yeah.
And that was kind of my part of the intent of how I set up this team in the first place. And I feel like last week was a proof of concept of that for us, for lack of a better term. So.
Yeah, because we didn't, aside from you shooting 800, now if we back that down and just say you shoot something more reasonable like 720, 730, we still win the first game because we beat them by 100 that game. Say you only shoot 220 or 230, we still win the second game. We still win the third game.
And we still take total.
Yeah.
It would flip a couple of points, but...
So, yeah, even if we lost a couple points, that's still 21, 22, 23 points on the week. And again, like we've said before, if we do that every week, we're going to be in really good shape. And so I think that that's going to be the key is, again, our three bowler, again, barring something crazy, is probably not going to win most of their points. Because we have,
unless we do something like what we did last week,
because we have the Mike Andersons, we have the Yuri and Tyler situation, we have what we've got coming up. The Ryan Klaus is, I think has the potential to be one of the better three bowlers in the league.
He's got one of the highest ceilings out of any three bowler in the league, but so far, I was actually looking back at his weekly results, and his season has been almost identical to yours. Like just from a week to week, like y'all are within, what is that, 26-17, 25-85. You're within 30 pins of each other, and you both have a high set that's like high sixes to like a 7-0. So it's like you're both literally the exact same. Well, you're basically the same bowler so far, just with different hands and a little bit different in the hair department as well.
Yeah.
Sorry, Brian, if you're watching. Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, I would hope that I end up in the 3 spot just because I'm the lefty and I should have more consistent. My set, the right side, depending on how it is, it could be up and down. I would think that my sets should be more consistent from week to week. And outside of the first week, everybody but you sucked the first week. Everything has been pretty consistent from week to week, 640 to 680 or whatever. And so I think that the job of our 3 bowler is going to be win the team game.
Yeah, the job of the 3 bowler is just get every pin and trust the process from a team perspective. I would definitely agree with that.
And there's some money in the individual stuff, but there's a whole lot more money per bowler.
Most of the money is in the team side, and it's usually like a cash payout per 0.1. Essentially, is how they divvy up most of it.
Yeah, Jay just mentioned that. Yes, we do. It is like Tuesday. We do have some individual standings too, but you don't get paid by point. You get paid. There's the top, however
individual,
however many in points. So you have to be like the top 6, 7, 8 in points to get paid. And there's an MVP, which is percentage of points. So if you do miss a couple weeks and you don't have the point total, you might still be very high in the percentage. So they do have points and percentage, but they only pay like the top 6, 7, 8 spots. So if you're not in one of those, it doesn't really matter that much. And then the top 18 will get paid as captains, of course. But most of it, the stuff that most of the league's going to want to pay attention to are the actual team points. That's what pays the most because you get a set amount per team point. And
then there's also a bonus for top 5 in each half of the season, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
That's where, wow, I cannot talk today. That's where most of the money is in the league is team points and finishing strong in each half, which I think actually, to kind of dovetail a little bit before we loop back to talk about our matchup against Kreitzer's team this week, is kind of stepping back and looking at the schedule of the league a little bit more. I don't have this pulled up to be able to show off the top of my head right now, but and Luke, I think you and I may have touched on this earlier. With how our schedule turns out, we essentially have a murderer's row the last 6 weeks of each half.
Yeah.
So it's like weeks 12 to 7 weeks, like 13 to 18 or whatever it is, 12 to 17. We've got Russ, we got Trevor, we got Jay Fattrell's team, which Jay's team is sneaky, really, really good, and I'm actually not looking forward to bowling them at all.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to bowling on the same pair as them. I'm not looking forward to bowling against them.
They have another one of those teams that's kind of built like ours. It's built
very
to not
much so.
hurt themselves. They're not going to go huge, but they're going to just apply continuous pressure to the other team constantly.
Yep. So we got Jay, we got Russ, we got Trevor, we got Yuri's team in there. I think we bowled them like week 13, I want to say, the first half. So and then there's a few other. I'm drawing a blank on all of them. I think we've got Nick Vaughn's team in that later group as well. So and there's a lot of very savvy guys who have been around the league a long time and know what they're doing. And we basically have all of those in the last 6 weeks of both halves.
Yeah.
And so kind of the way I'm looking at it right now is I'm not expecting to win 25 every single week, but for right now, this is very much like hammer down, get as many points as we can the first 11 of each half, and then hang on for dear life from there.
Yeah, I think it's going to leave us in a lot more comfortable position if we can have more weeks like last week. Yes. And to kind of move this along a little bit, it's all fun stuff to talk about, but looking at Kreitzer's team, it's kind of, with the exception of you, it's built fairly similar where, Jeff's not going to miss the pocket much. Sean shot 700 last week. He's going to pop those in. He rides a little bit of roller coaster. Ryan, again, he's not going to hurt you. Jay's not going to hurt you. They're all solid guys that are, Jeff is 50-ish. Sean's 40-ish.
Sean's like mid 40s, I think.
Yeah, so they're all.
He can almost bowl the senior. I think he can bowl the senior masters in like another couple of years, which the cut for that is 50.
Yeah, the point is they're all fairly experienced, and they're all
Yep.
leaning into the old guy game, so to speak, of just hit the pocket.
Yep. But it's a bunch of good guys, and like this is one of those teams where it's like, oh sweet, we get to bowl against them this week because it's always going to be fun bowling with them.
Mm-hmm.
So and that's like it'll be more fun if we take a bunch of points off of them, but that's kind of neither here.
Yeah, and if we don't, it's not going to be if we don't, it's coming. Well, they just beat us, so.
Yeah, pretty much.
There's nothing lost there. So,
as far as lane assignments, we are on 3 and 4. We are back on 3 and 4 this week. This is the second time we hit that pair. So we hit 3 and 4 twice pretty early in the season, and then we will not see it again until the first week of the second half after tonight.
That'll work. I think it'll go a whole lot better this time. I mean, you might be down a little bit.
Hold my spindrift.
Yeah.
Strategically, I know week 1 or was it week 1 or week 2 when we bowled Rob's team on that pair. What are you going to be looking to change? Because I know it was kind of a death by 1,000 paper cuts game 3, and it was a mentality shift for you after week 1.
Did we bowl? We bowled on which? Did we catch 1 and 2 the first week, or was it
1 and 2 was week 3 against Ottawa?
Okay, so we bowled.
Week 1 was Rob against was Rob Wagner's team.
Yeah, so we bowled on 3 and 4, and I actually threw it really good. Yeah. And
you bowled an amazing like 630 with a 1.
I think it was 580. The first week was 580 somehow.
Oh yeah.
And then we bowled on 5 and 6, and then it was slightly better, and then 1 and 2 was slightly better, and so yeah, it was just I was throwing the wrong ball. I was trying to throw the blackout, and it was just too much ball, and then Rob ended up inside of me, and I didn't catch up to it quick enough or something. But it wasn't very good. It wasn't great for Noah. It wasn't great for Jaden. It wasn't great for, I think Warren shot
a million.
Yeah, Warren shot 680 and Rob managed 620 or 630.
No, it was like 650, 660.
Okay, because he shot 250 something the first game, then he shot 160, and then he shot 220 or 230 the last game.
Yeah.
But nobody really did anything, and I'm looking for that to be. I don't think we're going to have. I mean, unless you have the same experience, I don't think it's going to be terribly high scoring. Which again, I don't think favors either team really. Looking at the lineup and the matchups, I would almost flip Jaden and Noah. I think that if somebody needs, I think Noah's. I don't know. I so far Jaden's been the one with the big games. So
yeah, I could go either way with that. Like kind of the way I was thinking about it, and I even talked to Noah about this last week was the idea of Jaden's been throwing it really well and seeing it really well, and kind of I think she actually profiles pretty well as a leadoff bowler with how she's bowling right now.
Yeah,
and so kind of my thinking at the moment is unless we have a really blatant like mismatch that we can play off of with the 1-2 spots, my thought for the immediate future is just leave Noah, go Jaden and Noah in the 1-2 spots and just kind of let it ride unless there's something really blatant that might say we need to flip that around.
Yeah,
and it's kind of like Jeff and Sean they're both going to have their moments, but you can't really predict them, I feel like.
Yeah.
And so if there's not a situation like that, then that's just kind of let it be what it is in my mind.
Yeah.
And then for you and I against Klaus and Kreitzer, which obviously this does assume that they don't have a sub or anything, but I think it'll kind of just be you in the 3 spot, me in the 4 spot. Let's get all the pins we can and kind of see where we end up at the end of this is kind of what I'm thinking for this week. I don't think there's enough there to justify a lineup change on our side, realistically speaking.
No, not really, because Klaus and Kreitzer kind of play the lanes fairly similar. They can both have good weeks at the same time. That's not going to be there's again, like you said, there's really nothing to dig into. I guess the one point for the first couple bowlers is that Jaden and Jeff have the more similar games. They kind of point it down the corner. Sean's higher rev than Noah is, but they still have Sean throws it so hard too that they have similar kind of shot shapes. Sean
and he's got a lot of axis tilt too, which kind of makes his ball like Sean and Jay both kind of have this weird like tilty spinny roll almost. Not like full helicopter spinner garbage, but like it when they're on dirt, they can be better than most if they get their ball facing up the right way. So,
and I think that Jeff and Jaden are going to be about in the same place. Noah's going to be a little inside of that. And then Sean, Ryan, and Jay are going to be right on top of each other. Ryan might be a little inside of that, but I would expect you to be even a little bit further inside of all of them, unless Ryan's really looping the lane. And
I'm either going to be dumping it up the track like I was just bulldozing the 5-pin, like I went straight up the track essentially the first 2 games when we were on this pair against Rob's team. If that is there, then I'll give that a look. But otherwise, I'm just going to kind of get a little further in and fade the middle of the lane. It's kind of my game plan for tonight.
I'll be all by myself again, and so that might be again. I don't think that having Rob on the same pair really did much to the transition that the last time we bowled on this pair against them. I really don't think it, because I didn't really have, whenever I moved, I didn't really have to move. And Rob and I were just kind of shuffling back and forth between trying to figure stuff out. And he's a career lefty, so he figured it out, and I didn't.
Oh, you'll get there in about another 20 years or so. Don't worry.
Yeah. But I've gotten things figured out here pretty good in the last few weeks since we things have changed quite a bit for me in the last month. So hopefully that's been figured out. Again, as far as predictions go, I need to get out of here in a minute, but as far as predictions go, I think it's likely that we probably get 20 off of this. Yeah. But again,
I don't think I don't think either team's going to run away with this one. I think it's going to be a pretty close match. Not like a 22-10 by 15 pins type of prediction like when we bowled Ottawa.
It'll be within 30 or 40.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be close. Oh,
I think
Max brings up a good point, by the way. Congrats to you and Joe for currently hanging on to the second spot in Greater Kansas City Open doubles. So,
good
bowling last weekend.
Have you seen the team scores? They're astronomical.
Oh my gosh!
And the funny thing is that I looked at that today, and 4 of the top 6 are scratch. So it's not like the 2 leading teams are 29.50 and 29 whatever else, and you always think, okay, well they just have a crap load of handicap. These are 4-person teams.
Yeah,
and 4 of the top 6 are scratch, and the other ones don't really. I think one of the other teams up there is getting like 200 sticks on the set, but that's not even that crazy.
Yeah, that's actually kind of impressive.
Team house.
Yeah,
but we well, that's kind of the funny thing is that we had kind of a rough. We got out of the gates in doubles pretty fast. We shot almost 500 scratch, and then we shot like Max said, we shot 388 game 2, and Joe's like, hey, let's shoot let's get back up in the 400s and get back into this thing. And then we just completely skipped over that and shot 530 something scratch the last game.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it. So it worked out. Real quick look at the league standings, by the way, because I think this is actually kind of a little bit of good news and buried the lead a little bit. We were in 6th last week on 55 points, and what is that, 21 and a half out of the lead?
Yeah.
And then we ended up took 26. There we go. Took 26, and now we were 8.5 off of first. So we jumped 9.5. 9.5? 9.5. I can't math today. 9.5 off of first, but we are right there, and we're also way up there in league total pinfall.
Yeah, that's the other thing I was looking at is that we are second or third, I think, in total pinfall because there's 10, 646.
Yeah, Trevor and Crouch, and then us. Yep.
So we're doing really well. Kreitzer's team is in 4th, right behind us.
Oh wow, yeah.
And
so another fake position round.
That's a good opportunity. And then Jennings that we bowled a couple weeks ago, the Ottawa kids, they've continued to bowl well. And so, losing to them was not really, that's going to be one of those tough teams that we didn't know how tough they were going to be at the beginning of the season, but I think we can add that to the list. And then another one of those teams is Crouch. That
he's one of the death row, or one of the can't even think of the right word. He's in the when we get our butts kicked the last 6 weeks, he's going to be one of those teams where it's going to be really tough. Murderer's Row. There we go.
And they've been taking big shots already, but I think that they've been bowling some of the tougher teams already. I think they have bowled Russ already.
Yeah.
They bowled Trevor the first week.
Yep.
That was their 30-2 week. I think that's probably not going to go that way again the second half.
Correct. Yeah, that's my expectation as well. But it should be a fun night. Anything, I guess, before we get out of here, any equipment changes for you this week?
I'm gonna pack my Cosmos actually, because my gold label, I tried to use it some over the weekend, and it seems like if my Summit wasn't working, the gold label wasn't quite helping me out either. It was a little more over under. The Cosmos rolls more like the Summit, but it is cleaner and it's cleaner and a little weaker. It's got a similar shape. Yeah. But I think that the shape sometimes with the gold label just doesn't work out. And so I'm going to bring my Cosmos as more of another little. And the more I've been using the Summit, I think I'm going to take the clone out of the bag, because the cover on the Summit's stronger, but there's more torque out of the clone. But ultimately, those kind of offset. They have similar shapes, and I trust
they end up being a step sideways almost.
Yeah, and I think on a house shot, the Summit's more effective. The clone is super, super good on tough stuff. And I think the Summit's just more of those, one of those, it takes the spot of several different balls in the bag, because it doesn't have one outstanding, it's not long and flippy. It's not super early and smooth. It's not super strong. It's just one of those, so in the middle of everything.
Yeah.
But I think I need a smaller adjustment off of that, because I haven't really, the gold label rolls well. I like the way that it shapes and what it does. I haven't been able to really score that great with it, though.
Yeah, the friction response has put it in a weird spot for you.
I think it's one of those halfway trap balls, but not. It's not bad enough for me to take it out of the bag. But I'm definitely going to replace. I think I'm going to replace the clone with the Cosmos, and then I might stick something in there like a reality check.
Ooh,
for a different, because it's blackout-ish. But the shape is not so relentless. Yep. I can control the back end shape a little bit more. The blackout just wants to go. It's like Storm Dog. It's just going to go crazy, and whatever happens.
Yeah,
I've got a little bit more control, I think, with the check on house shots. So
that makes complete sense.
And I haven't. My Phase G is going to stick in there, because that was a really good game 3-ball for me last week, after the Summit was just a little too strong, a little too early and too slow last week. And I went to the Phase G and had a pretty big game with that the last game. So that's going to stick in there. So I think probably what I'm going to do is just replace replace the clone with the Cosmos for now. Yeah. And see how that goes.
Yeah, fair enough. On my side, I'm still building, like, the way I've been building my bag, I think is working really well, with kind of early torque, early smooth, later torque, and a weak ball type of an idea. I'm just mixing up a few of actually taking a bunch of stuff that I didn't even have drilled last week. Tonight is my plan. So I've got drilled a high speed Sunday, I think. And so that's going to be going in as my early, more torquey rolly ball. Got a fresh NV Tour, which is just a fresh cover for Swiss Trios this weekend. And then the Springfield 10K doubles next weekend. So I've got my fresh NV Tour in the bag. Instead of my pin down Widow hybrid that I've been taking the first month or so, I also drilled the NV Tour Pearl, the silver ball. And so that's going to be going in the bag in that spot. And then my Ocean Vibe has been crushing game 3. I think my game 3 average with the Ocean is something like 280 right now, I think, or something ridiculous like that. Yeah. So that's a complete no-brainer. So I think those are the changes for me. It's just kind of making tweaks, but within the same overall concept. is
kind
of, I think, the general theme for both of us.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, to kind of wrap it up and get out of here. I like us to get 20 again tonight, but they're right behind us, and they've gotten the points that they've gotten doing the same things that we've been doing. You know, not one of the higher team averages on paper, just they don't give points away.
Yeah, exactly. Taking care of business. And I think it will be a tough match regardless of who wins.
I could see us straight up splitting it too.
Yeah.
This might be one of those teams where you look at everything on paper and how closely we match up bowler to bowler and whatever else. And, you know, I could see us.
This could be one of those really weird weeks where one team where it goes 17 and 15, and the team that takes 15 points gets total pins.
Yeah. and where it's up and down the whole time, where it's not just like a consistent, predictable, this team's kind of pulling away with it.
Yeah, exactly. So, it'll be a fun time though, and I believe we are good to be back here at the same time next week. Is that right?
Yeah.
Assuming work doesn't throw any more shenanigans your way.
But, yeah. No, I think that we're gonna be good to go.
Awesome.
So, and we will see. I can't remember what was our prediction for. We thought that we were going to get most of them.
We expected to win most of them. I think it was like 23-24-ish.
Okay.
But I don't think we thought we'd win by as much as we did.
No, and especially not with Tennyson shooting 760. We figured he wasn't going to average under 200 the entire year because he was a captain last year.
Yeah.
But you can't ever really predict. I mean, you can't even say that. You can't even really walk in expecting Russ to shoot 750 every week or you to shoot 750 every week.
Heck, Russ had a really rough week down in 17-18. I think he shot like 630 with a 250 first game. So happens to everybody. It's just kind of got to take the good weeks when you can, and when you don't, just get as many pins as you can and make them earn it at least.
Yep. All right. Hey, Shauna. We are about to take off here once again. Lots of stuff in the description. Make sure you check that out. There's tons of discount codes. There's tons of stuff that you didn't know that you needed until you saw it in the description.
Yep.
So check it out. We will be back here same time next week, hopefully with good news. But, you know, this is a fairly competitive league, so
got to earn it.
We will see what happens, and you always have to go. You have to be confident going into it. I would imagine that they think that they can, they can weather the storm and take some points off of us too. So that's the attitude that you need to have.
Pretty much.
So, all right. Thanks everybody for hanging out. We will hopefully I'll have some more shorts for everybody. Thursday has been really good for my shorts content here lately. So.
Fingers crossed, yeah.
Yeah, hopefully we can keep doing that. So
let's get a lot of those this week.
Yeah.
I'd be good with it.
Thanks, everybody. We will see you next week.
Adios.